Today we're going to talk about progressivism. It kind of goes along with what we talked about on Monday with the Gilded Age.
It was that the layer of gold basically was covering up a lot of problems underneath.
Social upheaval that was caused by the Industrial Revolution. So hopefully what we gained from looking at the Gilded Age was a sense of the kinds of problems that were introduced into American society by industrialization. And today what we're going to look at is how do first of all, how do industrializing nations respond to those challenges? And then how does the United States respond? Okay, because the American response is going to be slightly different from other countries. Okay, questions, comments before we start? So remember then that all of this comes out of the Industrial Revolution, and some of the basic ideas from what we learned about in the Industrial Revolution were that a shift in the basis of wealth accompanied the Industrial Revolution, meaning that before the Industrial Revolution in the feudal system, land was the basis of wealth. And because there was only so much land, only so many people could be wealthy. But when we see a shift from industrialization, where you can make lots of money without a lot of land, then the basis of wealth shifts from land to capital. And then the result of that is that more people can be wealthy, which means an expansion of democracy. And I think I did mention that when I talked about this, that democracy is motivated by this increase in the amount of wealth that's available because of the Golden Rule. Does anybody remember what the Golden Rule was?
He who has the gold has the money or does the power, right?
Yeah, whoever has the gold makes the rules, essentially, right? So then we saw that there was, because of a wider distribution of wealth, there was a wider distribution of political power. And we saw that in the democratization in the United States, for example, between the aristocratic system of the British and then the First Republic, where a number of people who we would consider to be among the bourgeoisie were able to seize control of the country, which was an expansion of democracy, and then it will continue to expand further and further as we go through through American history. But along with that, what we noticed was that the political system ended up being ripe with corruption because of the fact that because of this golden rule, essentially, that whoever has the money makes the rules. So you could buy politicians and you could buy votes and things like that, which then is kind of antithetical to the American system. And it also enforces a lower class. It enforces the exploitation of workers by not allowing them to improve themselves, right? We will also see the rise of the middle class. We're going to really see that today because the progressive movement was really a middle class movement. So we have to talk about, first off, where does the middle class come from and why do they become the movers of this era of reform, okay? And then other things rising out of the Industrial Revolution are business practices that are anti-consumer, like monopolies and trusts, and there were massive amounts of wealth inequality, and finally, the exploitation and oppression of the laboring classes. And I think that we really saw all of these things in the discussions that we had on Monday, and then also when we talked about the Industrial Revolution, and you guys watched that movie Los Mineros. So all these things are pointing to the fact that there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems essentially that needs to be addressed. And So the question then becomes, how do we address that problem?